"Stupid maid!" Marcus Whitmore screamed with total contempt, pointing at Sofia Rodriguez. He had no idea he was about to look into the eyes of someone who would leave him speechless for the rest of his life. It was Thursday, 2:20 p.m., in the 8,000-square-foot mansion in Beverly Hills, and Marcus was demonstrating exactly why he was the most hated businessman in Los Angeles. His $500 million fortune had created an absolute monster, the cruelest boss in California. "Incompetent!" He yelled at Sofia, who was carefully cleaning a $25,000 crystal vase. "How can someone from your background touch such valuable objects?" Sofia just lowered her head, continuing her work with meticulous precision. She had been hired just 5 days ago after the 20th consecutive maid had quit citing personal issues. The entire mansion seemed to live under a constant state of terror. The other staff, Maria, the cook, and Carmen, the housekeeper, moved like shadows, avoiding any eye contact with Marcus. In 3 years, since his tech company had gone public and made him worth $500 million, he had transformed into an absolute domestic tyrant. "Do you understand that this vase costs more than 5 years of your salary?" he said, circling around Sofia like a predator. "I understand, sir," Sofia replied calmly, without stopping her cleaning. "You understand, sir," Marcus exploded. "You think understanding is enough? You think your limited comprehension protects my objects from your incompetence?" Sofia stopped cleaning and looked directly into his eyes for the first time, and it was at that moment that something extraordinary happened. Marcus went completely silent. For 10 eternal seconds he couldn't make a sound. What was in that look that had the power to silence a man who terrorized hundreds of employees? "Mr. Whitmore," Sofia said softly, "may I ask you a question?" Her voice came out with a strange authority that left Marcus even more bewildered. What question?" he stammered, still processing what had happened. "Why are you so afraid?" The silence was deafening. Marcus was paralyzed, processing what he had heard. "Afraid," he stammered. "I'm afraid. I'm one of the most powerful men in America." "Yes," Sofia said calmly, "and you seem terrified." "Terrified of what?" "Of people finding out who you really are." The observation hit Marcus like a bullet. No maid had ever spoken to him that way. Direct, fearless, as if she could see right through him. "You don't know anything about me," he screamed. "I know you yell because you're afraid people won't listen if you speak normally. That's ridiculous. I know you treat people badly because you're afraid they'll discover you're not superior to them." Each word was like a surgical stab to his psyche. "Shut up!" Marcus yelled. "You're just a maid. You have no right to analyze anyone." "You're right," Sofia agreed quietly. "I don't have the right, but I have eyes." "And what do your eyes see?" "A very scared man pretending to be brave." Marcus turned red with anger, but something in her serenity prevented him from exploding completely. "You're fired," he screamed. "Why?" "For insubordination, for making an observation, for disrespecting me." Sofia studied him calmly for a few seconds. "Mr. Whitmore, disrespect would be lying to you. I only told the truth." "What truth?" "That you seem like a very lonely and scared person." The word lonely hit Marcus like a punch. It was exactly what he felt but would never admit. "I'm not lonely. I have employees, business partners, contacts." "But you don't have friends," Sofia observed gently. "Friends are a luxury that successful people can't afford." "Why?" "Because true friendship requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is weakness." "Who told you that?" Marcus hesitated. It was something he had decided alone, but never questioned. "Life. It taught me," he replied defensively. "Or fear taught you." I don't have fear. Then why are you yelling? The simple question created an embarrassing silence. Marcus realized he was, in fact, yelling for no apparent reason. It was at that moment that Marcus Whitmore's life was about to change forever, because that woman had accomplished something no one had managed in 20 years, making him question himself. First of all, Sophia said calmly, you need to understand something. What? You're not going to like what you're about to hear about yourself. Why not? Because the truth hurts before it liberates. Marcus shifted uncomfortably, but there was something in her authority that forced him to listen. Go ahead, he said, trying to maintain control. Mr. Whitmore, how many people do you consider true friends? Many. I have contacts worldwide. Contacts aren't friends. How many people would call to check how you're doing without needing anything? Marcus tried to think. He couldn't name a single one. That doesn't matter. I don't need friends. Don't you? Then why are you so eager to have this conversation with me? The observation caught him off guard. I'm not eager. No. Then why did you cancel your afternoon meetings to stay here? Marcus was confused. He had indeed automatically cancelled everything. I want to understand why you're different from the other maids. Different how? You're not afraid of me. And does that bother you or relieve you? It relieves me, he admitted reluctantly. Why? Because I'm tired of people who agree with me just to please me. Ah, Sophia smiled for the first time. So you know you live surrounded by lies. They're diplomatic lies. Lies are lies, and they're killing you inside. How so? When was the last time someone said no to you? Marcus tried to remember. He couldn't. When was the last time someone disagreed with your opinion? Silence. When was the last time someone gave you constructive criticism? Never, and I don't want to be criticized. Why? Because criticism is an attack, or it's care. How so? People who care about us help us improve. People who don't care let us make mistakes. Marcus became thoughtful. So you're criticizing me because you care about me. I'm observing you because I recognize the symptoms. What symptoms? Of someone who has isolated himself so much that he's lost contact with who he really is. And who am I really? Do you want to know the truth? I do. Sophia studied him carefully. You're an intelligent, capable man who built an impressive empire. Marcus brightened at the compliments. But, she continued, you're also a man who is so afraid of rejection that you reject people first. I don't reject anyone. Don't you? How do you treat the people who work for you? I maintain professional distance. Or create emotional barriers. What's the difference? Professional distance maintains respect. Emotional barriers create fear. And I create fear. You know you do. Marcus sighed. It was undeniable. Why do I create fear? Because that way you have control. And what's wrong with having control? Control based on fear isn't real, it's an illusion. Explain. If people do what you want out of fear, what happens when that fear disappears? It doesn't disappear. It always disappears. Fear gets tired. Respect doesn't. Marcus was beginning to understand something he had never considered. It was at that moment he realized he had found something rare. Someone who wanted nothing from him, but was willing to help him. Maria! Carmen! Marcus called, trying to control his tone of voice. The two women appeared immediately, clearly nervous about being summoned together. Sir, Maria asked timidly, please sit down. The employees looked at each other, confused. Marcus had never asked them to sit down. Sir, did we do something wrong? Carmen asked worriedly. No, Marcus said, looking at Sophia for encouragement. Actually, I want to apologize. The silence was deafening. Maria and Carmen were speechless. Apologize, sir? Maria stammered. For treating you badly all these years. The two women looked at each other, then at Sophia, trying to understand if it was some kind of trick. I know I yell a lot, Marcus continued with difficulty, and I know you're afraid of me. Sir, Carmen tried to speak. Let me finish, Marcus asked. I want to know how you feel working here. How do you mean, sir? If you're happy, if you have problems, if I can improve anything. Maria began to cry silently. Why are you crying? Marcus asked, concerned. Because in 5 years working here, it's the first time you've asked how I feel. The answer hit Marcus like a punch. And how do you feel? Excuse me, sir, may I speak the truth? Please do. I feel invisible. How so? You never mention my name to visitors. You always say the cook, like I'm not a person. Marcus felt embarrassed. It was true. And you, Carmen? Sir, may I really speak the truth? You may. I'm afraid to make any noise when I clean, because when you hear me, you always yell. Even when you haven't done anything wrong, especially when I haven't done anything wrong. Marcus was beginning to see himself through their eyes. Do you talk about me when I'm not here? The two looked at each other nervously. You can tell the truth, I won't get angry. We do, sir, Maria admitted. What do you say? That you seem like a very sad person. Sad? That you yell because you must be suffering inside. The observation from the employees echoed exactly what Sophia had said. Do you feel sorry for me? We do, sir. Why? Because you have everything money can buy, but it seems like you don't have anything that really matters. And what really matters? People who truly care about you. Do you care about me? Maria hesitated. May I speak the truth? You may. We care about you as a person, but we're afraid of you as a boss. Explain the difference. As a person, we see that you're alone and suffering. As a boss, we see someone who treats us badly. And if I changed, if I stopped yelling, if I treated you with respect, then maybe we could show that we care. How? By taking care of you. For real, not just out of obligation. It was at that moment that Marcus began to understand that he had wasted years of genuine relationships out of fear of being vulnerable. 2 weeks later, the transformation in the mansion was impressive. Marcus would arrive home, greeting Maria and Carmen by name, asking about their families, and the atmosphere had completely changed. Good morning, Maria. How's your youngest son? Marcus asked as he entered the kitchen. Much better, Mr. Marcus. The fever broke. Thank you for asking. And you, Carmen, how was your granddaughter's birthday? Beautiful, Mr. Marcus. She loved the gift you sent. Sophia observed the interactions with satisfaction. In 2 weeks, Marcus had become a completely different boss. Sophia, he said, can I show you something? Of course. He led her to the office and showed a pile of resumes. What's this? People wanting to work here. How so? Maria and Carmen spread the word that I've changed. Now, everyone wants to work at my house. And how do you feel about that? Proud. For the first time, people want to work with me, not just for the salary. Sophia smiled, but Marcus noticed something strange in her expression. Sophia, are you okay? I am. You seem worried. It's that I received a call today. What kind of call? Sophia hesitated. From my lawyer. Lawyer, why? About an old case, a scandal from a company where I worked. Marcus sat down, interested. What happened? New evidence appeared. What kind of evidence? That could definitively prove I was used as a scapegoat. That's great. It is, but it's complicated. Why? Because the evidence involves very powerful people. What people? Sophia became uncomfortable. Politicians, businessmen, judges. Sophia, how big was this scandal? Bigger than I imagined at the time. How much bigger? Billions of dollars. International money laundering scheme. Marcus was impressed. And you were in the middle of it without knowing? Exactly. I was used as a front person. And now? Now the FBI wants me to testify. Is that dangerous? Sophia fell silent. Sophia, there's something you haven't told me, isn't there? There is. What? About why I came to work specifically here. Marcus felt a chill in his stomach. How so? It wasn't a coincidence. Explain. I knew who you were before coming here. How did you know? Because you were also a victim of the same scheme. The silence was deafening. I was a victim. Yes, your company lost approximately $50 million being used to launder money without your knowledge. It was at that moment that Marcus discovered his connection with Sophia went far beyond chance. 50 million? Marcus repeated, incredulous. At least. Your company was used as a laundromat for dirty money. How? Criminals created shell companies, contracted your services, then cancelled projects and asked for refunds. You returned clean money. That's why everything always went wrong. Exactly. You thought it was bad luck in business. Actually, you were being used. Marcus ran his hands through his hair, processing. Sophia, tell me everything. From the beginning. I worked at Davidson and Associates. Officially, financial consulting. Actually, money laundering scheme. And how did you get involved? My boss said I was competent and promoted me. I started signing contracts he said were confidential. Investments from companies that wanted privacy. And you believed it? Of course. It was a promotion, raise, recognition. And then, FBI raided the company on a Friday. They had an arrest warrant for me. Why? My signature was on all fraudulent contracts. I was officially responsible for everything. And your boss? Richard Davidson disappeared the night before with his family. He abandoned you. He used me as a scapegoat, had planted evidence against me for months. What evidence? Fake emails, transfers to accounts I didn't even know existed, forged signatures. How forged? He made me sign blank pages, saying it was to streamline processes. The pain in Sophia's voice was palpable. And how did you prove your innocence? It took 3 years. My lawyer found inconsistencies, proved the signatures were forged. And Richard? Never found, until now. How so? He was arrested in Switzerland and turned in the entire scheme in exchange for a reduced sentence. And me? How do I fit into this? Your company was one of the main laundromats. Hundreds of millions passed through here. And you came here to warn you and to ask for help. Marcus was silent, processing the enormity of the revelation. Sophia, when you arrived here and I treated you badly, did you know I was a victim? I knew. And you still helped me? That's why I helped you. How so? Because I recognized another survivor. Someone who was used and hurt, but still had goodness in their heart. And if I hadn't changed, then I would have left and tried alone. But I did change. You changed because you were already a good person inside. Sophia, how much time do we have? For what? To prepare our counterattack. Mr. Marcus, Sophia, they stole $50 million from me, destroyed your life. Now they've found adversaries who won't give up. It was at that moment they became partners in a battle much bigger than their personal lives. First, Marcus said, We need professional protection. Mr. Marcus, this must cost a fortune. Sophia, they stole $50 million from me. I'll spend whatever it takes. Sophia called the detective who had investigated her case. Agent Thompson, this is Sophia Rodriguez. Yes, new evidence appeared. I'm with businessman Marcus Whitmore. He's also a victim. We need protection. Can you come here? Urgent. What did he say? Marcus asked. He's coming now, and the situation is more serious than we imagined. How so? In the last 2 weeks, 3 businessmen who were victims of the scheme were found dead. Marcus went pale. Dead how? Apparently accidents. But all happened after they were contacted by the FBI. They're killing witnesses. It seems so. When Agent Thompson arrived, he confirmed their worst fears. The situation is serious. We have information that there's a contract out on both of you. Death contract? Yes, $250,000 for each one. When? The contract was opened yesterday. Agent Thompson, what options do we have? 3. Witness protection for years, leave the country, or move everything up, go public today. What do you recommend? As a cop, witness protection. As a person, that you fight. Why? Because if you hide, they keep killing other victims. Sophia and Marcus looked at each other. Do we hold a press conference? Marcus asked. We do. Today? Today. Agent Thompson, schedule it for 6 p.m. Are you sure? Absolutely. Then let's prepare for war. It was at that moment they decided to risk everything for justice. The press room was packed, 50 journalists and palpable tension in the air. Sophia, are you ready? Marcus asked. I'll never be ready for this. But you'll do it anyway? Especially because of that. When they went on stage, the silence was absolute. Good evening, Marcus began. My name is Marcus Whitmore, businessman. This is Sophia Rodriguez, victim of one of the largest corruption scandals ever documented in America. We're here to denounce a money laundering scheme that involved politicians, judges, businessmen, and cost billions from public coffers. And, Sophia added, to tell how innocent people are being killed to silence the truth. What evidence do you have? A journalist asked. Marcus showed a giant folder. Fraudulent contracts, bank transfers, confession recordings, list of 200 victim companies, and names of those involved. Congressman Robert Miller, Judge Patricia Hayes, businessman William Carter. The murmur in the room was audible. How did you obtain this information? Sophia approached the microphone. I was used as a front person. I was arrested, humiliated, destroyed. For 3 years, I fought to prove my innocence. Mr. Marcus, how did you get involved? My company lost $50 million being used to launder money without my knowledge. Why did you decide to expose yourselves now? Because, Sophia said, in the last 2 weeks, 3 businessman victims were found dead. The room fell into total silence. Do you think they were murdered? We're certain, Agent Thompson said, approaching the microphone. I'm the detective responsible for the investigation. There's a $250,000 contract against each of them. A death contract? Exactly. So why are you here? Because, Marcus said, we'd rather die speaking the truth than live in silence. Aren't you afraid? We're terrified, Sophia admitted, but we're more afraid of letting this continue. And if you die today, at least our death will have meaning. At that moment, there was commotion at the back of the room. Security was removing a suspicious man. Agent Thompson, is there real danger now? There is. That's why this conference is being broadcast live across America. The last question came from a veteran journalist. If you could go back in time, would you do things differently? Sophia and Marcus looked at each other and smiled. No, Sophia said, because this journey taught us who we really are. And who are you? People who don't stay silent in the face of injustice, even knowing it could cost your lives, especially knowing that. When the conference ended, the story was on all networks, all newspapers, all social media. But the war was just beginning. 2 hours after the conference, Marcus's phone wouldn't stop ringing. "Mr. Whitmore," the voice on the other end was icy, "you made a serious mistake. Who is this? Someone who can make your life hell. You already did that. Now it's my turn. You have 24 hours to publicly retract. Or you'll discover there are things worse than death." The call was cut. Sophia was pale. They called me too. What did they say? That they'll destroy my entire family if I don't deny everything. "But you don't have family." That's what I said. Then they said, "Not yet." "What do you mean?" "They found out I have a sister in Miami and that she has 2 young children." Marcus's blood went cold. They threatened children? Clearly. Agent Thompson approached. "Folks, the situation got complicated." "How?" 3 cabinet members resigned in the last hour. "Because of our accusation?" "Exactly. And some of the new members might be involved in the scheme." "Agent Thompson, is my sister in danger?" "I already sent protection for her." "Miami, police are warned." "And here we received information that there's a command to execute you in the next few hours." "A command?" "No longer isolated assassins, a complete operation." "Do we have any protection?" "I have 20 federal agents. They have hundreds of mercenaries. So we're lost? Unless we do something they don't expect." "What?" "We attack first." "How?" "By arresting everyone simultaneously." "Is it possible?" "With signed warrants and coordinated operation." "Yes." "What warrants?" "Based on the evidence you provided." "Are they ready?" "They will be in 2 hours. And until then, you need to stay alive." At that moment, the hotel lights flickered. "What was that?" Sophia asked. "They cut the power," a federal agent shouted. In the dark, they could hear footsteps in the hallway. Many footsteps. "Agent Thompson, how many men did they send?" "By the sounds, about 50. And we have 20. "Folks," Agent Thompson whispered, "ready for the fight of your lives." Marcus squeezed Sophia's hand. "Sophia, no regrets?" "None. Even knowing it might be the end. Especially knowing that." The footsteps were getting closer. "Agent Thompson, if we die here, will our story continue?" "It will. The press already has everything. You've already won." "How so?" "The truth is out. Even if you die, it will destroy them." The footsteps stopped outside the door. "It's now," Agent Thompson murmured. But then something unexpected happened. Sirens, many sirens. "What's that?" Someone shouted in the hallway. "FBI, everyone on the ground." The voice came from megaphones outside the hotel. "Agent Thompson, are they ours?" "They are. The operation was moved up." "How?" "The judge signed the warrants early." "Why?" "Because he saw your conference on TV." For the next 20 minutes, they heard screams, running, shots in the air. When the lights came back on, Agent Thompson was smiling. "Folks, it's over." "Over how?" "We arrested 15 people, including the 3 main instigators." "Congressman Robert?" "Arrested." "Judge Patricia?" "Arrested." "Businessman William?" "Arrested." Sophia began to cry. "Is it really over?" "It's over. You're safe." Marcus hugged Sophia. "We did it. We got justice. And we survived. And we survived." It was at that moment they realized they had won more than a legal battle. They had won a partnership for life. 3 months later, Marcus and Sophia were in the office of their new company, Whitmore and Rodriguez Ethical Business Consulting. "Sophia, did you see the newspaper today?" "I did. $1 billion scheme dismantled thanks to courage of 2 business people." And did you see what else? William Carter sentenced to 15 years, Congressman Robert expelled, Judge Patricia forcibly retired. All of them? All, and more. The government recovered $3 billion. $3 billion? And we recovered our $50 million. And what are we going to do with the money? You already know. Sofia Rodriguez Institute for Whistleblower Protection. Exactly. So other people have the courage to denounce without fear. And the consulting? To teach business people to be ethical and profitable at the same time. Do you think it works? I'm sure you're living proof. Sofia, can I make a confession? Go ahead. I'm happier today than when I had $500 million. Why? Because today, I know I deserve what I have. How so? Before I was rich by luck. Today I'm prosperous by doing the right thing. And what's the difference? Wealth can be lost. Ethical prosperity is permanent. At that moment, Maria and Carmen entered the office. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sofia, we brought coffee. Thank you, girls. How's the new company going? Very well. We already have 15 clients. What kind of clients? Business people who want to learn to be ethical. Like Mr. Marcus learned? Exactly. Maria smiled. Mr. Marcus, can I say something? Go ahead. You saved our lives. How so? Before we were afraid to go to work. Now we love coming to work. Why? Because you treat us like family. You are family. And Dr. Sofia too. Dr. Sofia is family and partner and best friend. All together. All together. Carmen got emotional. Mr. Marcus, can I tell you something? Go ahead. We tell everyone we work for the nicest bosses in Los Angeles. Really? Really? And there's a line of people wanting to work here. Why? Because here people are treated with respect. Sofia got emotional. Marcus, see? You built a company based on love. How so? Maria and Carmen work here out of love, not obligation. And that's good for business? It's the best business there is. Why? Because people who love what they do it with excellence. And people who do things with excellence create prosperity for everyone. Marcus looked around the office. Sofia working. With joy, Maria and Carmen taking care of everything with affection. Satisfied clients arriving. Sofia, do you know what impresses me most? What? How a simple thing changed everything. What simple thing? You looking into my eyes and telling the truth. And what was the truth? That I was afraid. And now I'm not afraid anymore. Of nothing. Of nothing. Because I learned that with the right people by your side, any fear can be faced. It was at that moment they realized they had found something rare, a partnership based on mutual growth. 1 year later, Marcus and Sofia were on the stage of the largest auditorium in Los Angeles, speaking to 1,000 American business people. Good evening, Marcus began. 2 years ago, I was the businessman most hated by my own employees. Laughter from the audience. Today, we run a company where people line up to work. The difference, Sofia continued, wasn't money, technology, or strategy. The difference was a simple thing. We treat people like human beings. A businessman in the audience raised his hand. Mr. Marcus, how did you change so drastically? Someone had the courage to tell me the truth. What truth? That I was afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of not being enough. So I compensated by being cruel. And how did you overcome it? By discovering that vulnerability is strength, not weakness. Dr. Sofia, how do you teach this to others? First, I help them identify their fears. How? By asking, why do you yell? Why do you mistreat employees? Why do you need to impose yourself through fear? And what's the common answer? That they're afraid of not being respected. And then Then I show them that true respect comes from competence and character, not intimidation. A businesswoman stood up. Do you really believe it's possible to be ethical and profitable? Our company grew 400% in 1 year being ethical, Marcus replied. How? Motivated employees produce more, clients trust more, suppliers collaborate more. Concretely, Maria, our former cook, became operational manager. Carmen, former housekeeper, became human resources coordinator. And the result? They know the company better than any external consultant, and they work with love, not out of obligation. And financially? Zero turnover saves millions in training. Zero labor lawsuits saves legal fees. Ethical reputation attracts better clients. What's the biggest mistake business people make? Sophia responded, thinking employees are resources, not people. Explain. Resources you use, people you develop. And what's the practical difference? Resources get depleted. People grow and make the company grow with them. Mr. Marcus, do you regret anything? I regret taking so long to change. Why? Because I wasted years mistreating incredible people. And if you could give advice to young entrepreneurs, invest in real relationships from day one. How? Get to know your employees as people, know their names, families, dreams. And does this affect productivity? It multiplies productivity. How? People who feel valued give their all. The last question came from a young entrepreneur. What's your secret? Marcus and Sophia looked at each other. Mutual trust, Sophia said, and courage to speak the truth, Marcus added, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because truth liberates, lies imprison. And are you just business partners? We're life partners, Marcus said, chosen family. Based on what? Shared values and mutual growth. When the lecture ended, they were surrounded by dozens of business people wanting help. Sophia, Marcus whispered, we did it. Did what? Transformed our story into hope for others. Was that always the goal? It always was. It was at that moment they realized their transformation had become a movement. 5 years later, Marcus was in the same place where it all began, his mansion in Beverly Hills, but now it was different. Maria, how's the business administration degree going? Great, Mr. Marcus. I graduate next year. And Carmen, how's the human resources course? Wonderful. I'm already applying what I learn at our company. Sophia entered smiling. Marcus, we have news. What news? Our methodology became a case study at Harvard. Really? Business transformation through humanization is now a required subject in the MBA program. Unbelievable. And there's more. What? We were invited to speak at the UN. At the UN? Why? About how to combat business corruption through cultural change. Marcus got emotional. Sophia, do you realize where we've come? From Maid and hostile boss to UN consultants, from 2 destroyed people to worldwide reference in human transformation. Maria approached. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sophia, there's someone at the door wanting to speak with you. Who? Says she's a former employee of a company you helped. Send her in. A 30-year-old woman entered, visibly emotional. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sophia, my name is Ana Martinez. Hi, Ana, how can we help? I came to thank you. Thank us for what? You transformed my company. My boss was exactly like Mr. Marcus used to be. And now? Now he's the best boss I've ever had. What changed? He took your course, read the book, applied the methodology. And it worked. It worked. So well that our company became a reference in the region. That's great. But I came here for another reason. What? I want to tell you that my story is the same as Dr. Sophia's. How so? I was used as a front person in a fraud. lost everything, almost gave up on life. Sophia became attentive. And then I read your story. I saw that it was possible to start over. And did you start over? Not only did I start over, but I founded an NGO to help other fraud victims. How wonderful. And do you know what I call the NGO? What? Sofia Rodriguez Institute. Sophia began to cry. Why? Because your example taught me that pain can be transformed into purpose. Anna, how many people has your NGO helped? 342. 342 people who restarted their lives. Exactly. All thanks to your example. Anna, Sophia asked, can I give you some advice? Of course. Now it's your turn to inspire others. How? By telling your story, showing that transformation is possible, even though it's hard to talk about the past, especially because it's hard. Why? Because your pain can be someone else's cure. Anna became thoughtful. Do you think I should write a book? We think you should do more than that, Marcus said. What? You should come work with us. Really? Really? We need someone who understands business fraud victims. I would love to. Then welcome to the team. When Anna left, Sophia looked at Marcus. See, the circle closed. How so? We helped Anna. Anna helped 300 people. Those people will help others. It's the multiplier effect of good. Exactly. Sophia, do you know what I'm most proud of? What? That our story doesn't end with us. How so? That it will continue through all the people we've touched. And that's important? That's the true legacy. Maria entered again. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sophia, a special invitation arrived. What invitation? For you to speak at my college graduation. Why? Because I'm an example that employees can become managers when treated with dignity. And what do you want us to talk about? That transformation is possible for any person. I accept, Marcus said. Me too, Sophia added. Mr. Marcus, Maria asked, can I say something personal? Go ahead. You saved my life. How? You gave me opportunity when no one believed in me. You gave yourself the opportunity, I just recognized it. But you were the first boss who saw me as a person. Maria, you were always an incredible person. But you were the one who taught me to believe that. And you taught me that leading is serving, not dominating. How so? You showed me that when the boss takes care of employees, employees take care of the company. And it worked? It worked more than that. It created a family. A business family? A real family. Maria got emotional. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sophia, thank you for teaching me that dreams can become reality. Thank you for teaching us that family is built with daily choice. When Maria left, Sophia looked at Marcus. Do you know what we discovered? What? That stupid maids don't exist. What exists? Incredible people waiting for someone who believes in them. And stupid bosses. They exist, but they can learn to be emotionally intelligent. Like you taught me. Like you allowed yourself to learn. It was at that moment they realized the transformation had become a movement based on a simple truth. Every human being has value and potential. 10 years after the day Marcus yelled, "Stupid Maid," they were on stage at the world's largest business event in New York, speaking to business people from 50 countries. "Ladies and gentlemen," Marcus said into the microphone, "10 years ago, I was the worst boss in America." The audience of 5,000 business people laughed. "Today," Sophia continued, "we run a global consultancy that has transformed more than 10,000 companies. The difference wasn't money, technology, or strategy. The difference was a simple thing. We learned to see people as human beings, not resources." An American businessman asked, "Mr. Whitmore, What was your biggest mistake as a boss? Thinking fear was respect. And now? Now I know respect is earned with competence and character, not intimidation. Dr. Rodriguez, how do you teach emotional intelligence to executives? First, we help them identify their fears. What fears? Fear of not being enough, fear of losing control, fear of being vulnerable. And then, we show them that vulnerability is strength, not weakness. The most important question came from a young CEO. What's the secret to transforming business culture? Marcus and Sophia looked at each other and smiled. The secret, Marcus said, is that there's no secret. How so? It's simple. Treat people like family. But what if they take advantage? Then, Sophia replied, you discover what kind of people they really are. And if they're good people, then you create a family that achieves the impossible together. Can you give a concrete example? Maria, our former cook, is now operational director for the US. Carmen, our former housekeeper, runs our entire human resources department. Anna, fraud victim, leads our international expansion. How is this possible? When you believe in people, they become extraordinary. The last question was the deepest. If you could send a message to every business leader in the world, what would it be? Sophia stepped forward. Your employees aren't just working for you. They're trusting their dreams to you. And, Marcus added, when you honor that trust, magic happens. What kind of magic? The magic of human potential being unleashed. And the result? Everyone wins. Employees grow, companies prosper, society improves. When they came down from the stage, they were surrounded by hundreds of business people wanting to implement the methodology. Sophia, Marcus whispered, we did it. What? We changed how the world thinks about leadership. Really? Our methodology is being applied in 50 countries. And the result? Millions of employees being treated with dignity. Marcus, can I make a final confession? Go ahead. When you called me a stupid maid 10 years ago, yes, I already knew you were a good person who was lost. How did you know? By your eyes, my eyes. There was pain there, and pain only exists where there was once love. And you decided to help me? I decided to bet on the loving part. And if it had gone wrong, then I would have at least tried. Sophia, do you know what I learned? What? That the most important people in our lives sometimes arrive in disguise. Like I arrived disguised as a maid, and like I was disguised as a cruel man. And now we are who we always were inside, good people who found each other. At that moment, Maria called from Los Angeles. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sophia, we have news. What news? Our company was voted the best company to work for in America. For the 2nd consecutive year. No, for the 5th consecutive year. And there's more. What? Carmen was invited to give a lecture at UCLA about how former housekeepers can become executives. And Anna? Anna opened NGO branches in 10 countries. Incredible. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sophia, can I say something? Go ahead. You two saved not only our lives, but the lives of thousands of people. How so? Every company you transform, every executive you teach, every lecture you give, it all multiplies. Maria, do you know what our greatest pride is? What? Seeing you three achieving dreams you didn't even know you had. It's true. I never dreamed I could be an executive. Because no one had told you that you could. And you did. We just recognized what was already there. Mr. Marcus, Dr. Sophia, what's your next dream? Marcus and Sophia looked at each other. Create a university, Sophia said. A university? University of humanized leadership. To teach what? To teach that true success includes everyone's happiness. And will it work? It will, Marcus said with conviction. Because we've already proven it works. How? Our own life is the proof. When they hung up, they were silent for a few minutes. Sophia, do you know what impresses me most about our story? What? That it started with anger and ended with love. It didn't end. How so? Our story will never end. Why? Because every person we touch will touch other people. Is it the infinite effect of good? Exactly. And it all started with you having the courage to look into my eyes and tell the truth. What truth? That I was afraid. And now, I'm not afraid of anything. Nothing, because I discovered that with true love by your side, any fear can be transformed into courage. Marcus, last question. What? If you could go back in time and not yell "stupid maid," would you do it differently? Marcus laughed. Never. Why? Because that yell was the beginning of our journey. A journey that saved 2 lives. A journey that saved thousands of lives. And that will save thousands more. Infinite more. How? Because we proved that transformation is possible. For any person. For any person who has the courage to look in the mirror and decide to be better. And that's enough. That changes the world. They looked out the window at New York, seeing the city that represented power and ambition. Sophia, do you know what our true legacy is? What? That we proved true power isn't in making people fear you. What's it in? In making them want to be better because of you. And that's more powerful. It's the only power that really matters. Why? Because it's the only one that multiplies love instead of fear. And love transforms everything. Including stupid maids into life partners. Including cruel bosses into inspiring leaders. And that's the true miracle. That's the miracle within reach of any person. At any moment? At any moment, they decide to truly look into the eyes of another human being. Marcus walked to the window and looked at the New York horizon. Sophia, you saved my life with 3 simple words. What words? Why are you afraid? That's when everything changed. And you saved mine by teaching me it's never too late to start over. Even after losing everything? Especially after losing everything, because then you discover what you're really made of. Marcus turned to her with tears in his eyes. Sophia, if I could speak to the Marcus from 10 years ago, do you know what I'd tell him? What? That the woman he's going to call Stupid Maid will be the most important person in his life. And if I could speak to the Sophia from 10 years ago, what would you say? That the man who's going to yell at her will become her family, her partner, her best friend. And that the pain she's feeling will transform into the strength that will change the world. They were silent for a few seconds, absorbing the magnitude of the journey. Marcus, do you know the exact moment our lives changed? What? When I looked into your eyes and you went silent. Why was that moment so powerful? Because for the first time someone saw you. Not the businessman, not the rich man, not the boss. Saw you as a human being. And you? When did you feel your life had changed? When you apologized to Maria and Carmen. Why? Because I saw you had the courage to grow. And courage is the most beautiful thing there is. Marcus took her hand. Sophia, promise me something. What? That we'll continue this mission until the last day of our lives. What mission? Show the world that transformation is possible. For any person? For any person willing to look in the mirror and decide to be better. I promise, but with one condition. What? That you promise never to forget who you really are. Who am I really? A good man who got lost for a while, but found his way back home. And where is home? Home is where the heart is at peace. And is my heart at peace? For the first time in decades. Marcus smiled through tears. Sophia, thank you. For what? For not giving up on me when I had given up on myself. Thank you for teaching me that a heroine isn't someone who never falls. It's someone who falls and gets up stronger. And now we go home. Home. Los Angeles, our family. Maria, Carmen, Anna, our team, everyone waiting to hear about New York. And what will we tell them? That we did it. That the whole world now knows stupid maids don't exist. What exists? Extraordinary people waiting for someone who believes in them. And when we believe, we discover we're extraordinary too. 10 years later, when they told their story to audiences worldwide, Marcus always ended with the same words. The cruelest phrase I ever said, "Stupid maid," became the beginning of the greatest blessing of my life, because it brought me someone brave enough to show me who I really was. And Sophia always completed, and the bravest thing I ever did was look into the eyes of a lost man and see the good person hidden behind the pain. Because sometimes the person who seems most like our enemy is the one who will save us. Together, they always concluded, if this story taught anything, it's that stupid maids don't exist, impossible bosses don't exist, people beyond salvation don't exist. There are only human beings waiting for someone who believes in the best of them. And when you become that person for someone, or when someone becomes that person for you, you discover the true meaning of the word miracle. Because a miracle isn't the impossible happening. A miracle is two imperfect people deciding to grow together and transform their pain into purpose, their fall into strength, their story into hope for the world. And if two strangers could transform into family through the power of true sight and honest words, imagine what you can do when you decide to see the people around you with the eyes of the heart. Because somewhere, someone is waiting for you to be the miracle in their life. And maybe, just maybe, they're the miracle you were waiting for in yours. This is our story. Now go write yours. The story that began with Stupid Maid ends with the world's most powerful message. Every human being has value and potential waiting to be discovered.